Hi everybody, it's me, Tammy Tutterow. My first ever Facebook Live. Um, Behind the scenes here, I've got my daughter Emma with me. She's monitoring comments to help me see if anybody has any questions or comments or things I need to address. So today I wanted to come to you and show you brand new stamps and dies that I have. Got so much to show you, so I've got a lot of stuff here. I'm gonna, let's see. So these are new stamps and dies I have with Maker's Movement. Now, in the past, you may have seen that I had dies with Crafter's Edge. Maker's Movement is a sister company to Crafter's Edge, and they cover a lot more different crafts. So I've gotten the opportunity with them to introduce some stamps and dies that would maybe be more considered paper crafting. But you know me, I'm going to try them on fabric too. So let's switch down here to the table view so I can show you what I've got here. So let's see. How about some stamps first of all? So here we have this set of stamps. This is the planner date set, and as you can see, it's got a nice sentiment here, and then your days of the week and your months, and these are all hand lettered and some numbers. These are really great for pages, junk journaling, your planners, of course. So I've really been having a lot of fun with these, and I'll show you here in a few minutes some pages I've been working on in a journal I'm keeping. So stamps only, and hopefully you can see this. I don't have the light here. Huh?
Yeah, they can see.
Okay. I don't have the light set up really the best, so it's a little dark, so I apologize for that. After this live is over, I'll share the photos of all of this on my blog too at tammytutterow.com, so you'll be able to see there a little bit better view. This next set comes in two parts. This is the Little Feet set. So as you can see, it's a stamp set. There's a couple sentiments. There's baby onesies and all kinds of little shoes and bibs. Super cute. I'm really excited about working with this one because I have my first grandbaby on the way. And so I think there are going to be some cute little projects I can do with this one. And if you don't want to fussy cut those, there's a die set available that matches. So really, really cute. And then one other stamp and die set. This one is the Petite Sentiments. And you can see that there are some sentiments here. And then there's also a label that the sentiments all fit in, and a couple little posy and leaf dies that you can embellish it with. See if you can see the sample there. I believe that one was made by Yoli. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the ladies that make some of my samples here in just a minute. And so then if we move on to just dies, I'm really excited about this set because if you know me, you know that I love little posies. So these are quite possibly the smallest posy dies I've ever had. And there are so many shapes and several different leaves, some circles for centers, just some really fun shapes that will give you a wide variety of posies that you can add to your projects. And this card, I've got that here with me today, and I'll show you a closer look at that soon. I've got a couple of tags because I do love tags. So here's a rounded tag and then the squared tag. They come with 3 different sizes, and then also some embellishments, some reinforcers that you can add to the hang tag on the tag. These all fit, depending on the size, but they fit in the pockets that I'm going to show you in just a minute. So I love things that work together. So, and I love making little tag books. So I'll show you those in a minute too. So those are super cute, and I've really enjoyed working with those. I'm gonna save this one for a minute. This one is a library pocket. I love library pockets to add to cards and pages. This one comes with first of all, here's your pocket, and then this rectangle inside here is a card that fits inside your pocket. And then you've got a couple of labels that you can stack to add embellishments to your pocket. And then this tab has a fold line in it, and so you can fold that over and make like a pull tab. So that one's really fun. I like that this is really a great utility die, something that you can use in lots of different ways. And I'll show you that journal page here shortly too. Okay, this file folder I love, because I love adding little file folders to cards and also to pages, because I love that I can close it and maybe have a little bit of hidden journaling. So this one comes with the note card that fits inside it is this, looks like a notebook page, a torn notebook page, which is really fun. And then you've got a couple of different labels that you can use as pull tabs or just labels to embellish the either your journal card or the outside of your envelope. And we'll show you this page in a minute too, a little bit closer view. So that's a fun one, another really great utility one. This one is, I'm excited about this one because I, probably like a lot of you, really like giving gift cards. I've got kids that really love gift cards, and you know, it's fun to have an envelope that you can make a special gift card or an enclosure for it. Oh, Facebook Live and me and my words, they don't really get along. So I hope you'll bear with me. Such a novice at this. So this envelope has an insert, this card, and a gift card will fit on the card. And then it's got a layered postage stamp design that you can put on the outside, and also a die cut word love.
Michaela Fule says that she loves the new designs.
Oh, thank you, Michaela. So we'll take a look at this one closer too. And then I am really excited about this one. Besides the Petite Posies, this might be my favorite because it's a waterfall. And if you've picked up any of the dies that I've offered in the past, really early on in die designing, I offered a waterfall and it got discontinued really quickly. And I probably get an email every week asking for that die again. So we've made another one. This time it's a little bit smaller, so the size is different if you have that other one. So this is a new size. But here's what's really fun about these is that it has some interchangeable edges so that you can make it just regular square, or you can add a decorative edge. And I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a minute. One thing I'll point out is you may notice that these dies are not pre-cut for you as far as they're still connected. So you will, when you buy Maker's Movement dies, you will want to pick up a pair of flush cutters. They're really easy to find. I picked up this pair at Joann's in the jewelry department, and you just snip those dies apart. Some of my dies I actually leave connected, and I'll show you that in a minute too, but in case you were wondering about these, why are they like this? It actually saves a little bit in production and lets us pass that savings on to you. So I like that we've got a little bit of savings that we can pass along. Okay, whew. Talking, lots of talking. So let's go to this waterfall die real quick. Okay, I've got a couple of these pre-cut to show you so that it makes it a little bit easier to assemble. But here's one that I've cut, and you'll see that there is a score line here. There's two score lines. So whenever you cut this out, you're gonna have two score lines at the top, and I always fold these. So if I wanna add a decorative edge, and I'm gonna use the scallop. So the bottom of each of these edges is a straight line. So it is super easy to match up to the bottom of your die cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on my cutting pad for my machine, and I'm going to line it up just where I want it. And then to keep it in place, I'm going to grab a piece of this purple tape. This is from Thermoweb. It's called purple tape, and it is my favorite to use for this because it keeps it right in place, and when I pull it off, it doesn't tear up my paper. So,
Michaela shared the screen.
yay, thank you, Michaela. Let me pull this over. This is the Crossover 2 machine from Crafter's Edge and Maker's Movement that I'm using. It's a really nice machine. It has adjustable rollers so that you never have to shim. It cuts any kind of die, and it makes it really easy to adjust to the materials you're cutting. So when I roll that through, I pull this off. And I just usually keep that same piece of tape for quite a few times. I just leave it stuck to my machine. There's my die. And you can see that, oops, I used the tiny scallop instead of the larger scallop like I used on the previous ones. Nerves, I guess. But it'll work for this demonstration. So when you're assembling these, you're going to use these as match lines. So I'm going to put glue, and I like to use glue stick because it usually gives you just a little bit more work time. Put glue right here in this top section.
Is there a difference between that glue and just like a regular glue stick like Elmer's or whatever?
No, this is just a glue stick from Xyron. This is just my personal favorite, but any will work. So you're going to take and fold this first section, and you're going to line it up the bottom of that section with that middle fold line. And you could use tapes if you wanted. I just like that glue stick gives you just a little bit of work time before it sets up. I told you that wrong. Sorry. So you can see I've got it all folded to, the first two sections are folded down, and it matches up to that middle fold line. And when those are together, you can see it gives you an offset. Okay. And then the next one, you would come in and do the exact same thing. So you fold the first two, put glue in the top section, and match it up. And I'll have a video demonstrating just this so that you can find it a little bit easier whenever you want to reference it later on. I'll have that on my website, and let's see, I'll show you right now where it's going to be. Let me flip over to my website, and as you scroll down right here on the home page, there are a couple of how-to videos that are linked here that are always on the side. It'll be right in here that'll show you how to assemble the waterfall die. And I'm going to film that after we get done doing live today. Okay, so when you've got those, you can continue doing this for however many sections you want to do. Whenever you get to the last one that you want, you're going to assemble it again, just like the others. Glue in the top section, fold the top two, line that up. Okay, so
Chad is very excited about the glue sticks.
okay, great. Okay, so then you're going to flip it over, and that top section that's left sticking up, you fold it to the back. And that gives you a nice finished top edge. I am on the wrong camera. Can you believe that? Oh, you guys. I need a lot of practice at this video stuff. Everybody tells me they want more videos, and it's a challenge for me. Okay, so there we go. See if you can see this. So the top one folds over and that gives you a nice finish edge. I like to put a couple of brads there. Sometimes I sew through that. But you can see that it gives you several places or ways to display lots of photos. So here's a page I did in a journal that I'm working on. And you can see that it gives me the opportunity to put lots of photos on one page. But maybe I don't, you know, this is for me, so maybe I don't want them all showing. So it's a nice way to have like little bits of hidden journaling. You know, if you think about a scrapbook page, maybe you want lots of photos, but you don't want want them all over the whole page. You just like to include them in the memory of the event. So here's a good way to do it. I love these. Okay, so gosh, there we go. That's how to do that.
Kayla Ryan says, so exciting, I love them all.
Oh, yay, thank you, Kayla. Kayla is my other half and helps take my ideas and put them into production, and I could not do this without her. She is genius.
Maker's Movement is also watching. They were one of the people who commented about the glue sticks.
Okay, so that was kind of a haphazard tutorial. I'll get you one that will be just this and easy to find on the video or on the website so that you can reference it later on. But I'm super excited about this, and I hope that everybody who has emailed me asking about those waterfalls in the past will love this. One die, you've got multiple edges for the bottom, and it's a little bit smaller, so it's easy to use on a journal page or a scrapbook page. You could put it on a card, and this fits inside the library pocket. So you can actually do an insert inside your library pocket of waterfalls. Okay. Before I jump into showing you a couple of these samples up close, I wanted to also show you.
Kayla said, yay, you're incredible, thank you.
Oh, she's the sweetest. So here's another, here's a quick tip. So sometimes when I have lots of scraps of paper or different fabrics, this happens to be wool. You know, if I'm working on a project and I want to add a little cluster of posies, I don't necessarily want to stop and take the time to die cut those. So sometimes whenever I'm watching TV or I've just got some time to kill and I want to be in my studio making something and but don't really have a project in mind, I will sit and cut scraps. So I probably will never need to die cut wool posies again because I have quite a stash here. But I mentioned that you can, especially with these tiny dies, I've lost these already multiple times on the floor because they're so small. So here's what I'm doing. And now keep in mind, I've got multiple sets here. That's why there are so many. But this is the Petite Posy set. And what I've done is I've taken a piece of the purple tape and just taken it, let's see, imagine these are cut apart, and I've laid them out how I want them to go on my paper or whatever, and I've put this on the back. They're blade side down. I put this on the back, and so now this piece of tape holds all these dies together. And if you can see, this one is really linty because I have cut a ton with it and not had to replace the tape. But it turns it into like one die essentially.
Any tape suggestions?
The purple tape. The tape suggestion is it's called purple tape, and that's from Thermoweb iCraft. So this is my favorite for this. You could probably use washi tape, but this is really super durable. So I've run this through my machine, my die cutting machine, gosh, probably 50 times or more. I mean, look at how many of these I've cut, and that tape holds up perfectly well. So for this instance, like I put all my circles together, all my centers, so that I was probably going to cut those out of one color. So I was able to take a scrap that size and cut all of these pieces, as opposed to having a scrap and laying all those little tiny pieces out. So this is a huge time saver. And so you can see I've got multiple sets here. So I've got 3 sets of dies.
Is that a magnet underneath?
Yes, this is a piece of magnet. I think they sell for, you put on your vent covers. I can share a link to that on Amazon after we get done. That's where I picked these up at. And I just keep them, these are stamp pockets. These are Tim Holtz stamp pockets. I just keep my dies on those and keep them in those pockets. So there's a tip for you. So we've had a quick tutorial and a tip. And let's look at these projects. Okay, so here's a journal that I've been working on. This is just a store-bought journal. I bought this at Hobby Lobby, and it came with pre-printed paper in it. And at first I was just going to cover the pages that were in it, but the paper quality was a little thin, and so I decided to take all those out, and I actually scanned one of the pages and turned it into a cut file that I cut on my Cricut. So I cut a bunch of pages from cardstock that I can just pop, oops, I shouldn't have ripped it. So I can pop it in and out, and then that way I can embellish. So,
Oh, is there a pre-built cut in that?
in this, the template I made, yes. So when I made this cut file, and I can share that on my blog, keep in mind it's designed to fit this book, so you'd have to find a journal the same size. But this is a pretty standard size and standard binding. But I can put that on my blog later if people are interested. But yeah, I just scanned it, and then I put a cut in each one so that I could just take these in and out of this journal. It made embellishing these pages a whole lot easier. So this journal page I did, and I used the planner stamps here for the November and the 2019. Here's the file folder. I made, wrote a little quote that I wanted to use, and I just layered it here on the page. And here's a couple of those little wool posies. So it was really fun to mix and match. You can see that there are different elements from different die sets. Here's that library pocket in action. Got an insert, there's the insert. And I put a quote on that one too. There's those tags layered. You can use one by itself, you could layer all three. Here's that fold over tab. I love tabs, so that's a fun place to put your date for your journal. It's just on the tab for the page. Here I wrote a little note to myself on this, on one of the tags, and as you can see, the tags fit inside the gift card envelope too. I love when things work together. So, and that's just a note to myself, so I like that it's inside this envelope, and somebody just flipping through my book doesn't necessarily see it right away unless they go in here and open it up. Let's see. Here's that waterfall page again. I'm really kind of in love with this page. As you can see, this this page is chronicling my weight loss journey, because I've been on I shouldn't call it a weight loss journey, it's just been a health journey the last year. And I just shared on my Instagram last night about it, and I've had so many wonderful comments and responses to that post that, gosh, have just really made my heart so full. But so this journal, this book is really about the progression of that journey, because it started last year, but I just started this journal last month. So just little nuggets and tidbits along the way that I'm putting in this book, kind of to remind me on days maybe that the journey is a little harder. So that's this. Oh, here's one of the tags. Oh, and you can see those edges from the waterfalls. You can totally use them on other dies too. So for this one, to make a layered tag, I just cut 2 tags, and then I used the edge from one of the waterfalls to make a tag topper for the top of that tag. Okay, gosh, you guys, I feel like I'm just rattling on and on. Here's that card that's on the back of the packaging that you saw. And again, I just used the file folder and put the sentiment from the Petite Sentiments right on here, and used a tab, just a really quick, simple card. You know, I always think of myself as a very challenged card maker, so, but I thought it was fun. And you know, if you left this, I glued the pocket shut, but you could easily leave that open and stick a little money in there, maybe a gift card, and then of course conclude your sentiment inside.
Debbie Adams says, "Love you, girl."
Ah, I love my Debbie Adams. I love her. So here is a tag book I made for using one of the round tags, and then here is that layered frame from the sentiments again, and then I mixed in the love from the card set. And I am terrible, you guys, about product names, so I probably will not refer to things by the right name. But this is just a really simple project you can do to save or you know, to celebrate little photos from your day. I always say that our family is not a scrapbook page kind of family, because we don't do big events and have big celebrations that warrant a big 12 by 12 page layout of tons of photos. We're just little moments people. And so my camera roll is always just full of little moments. And so that's probably why I like these little tag books so much, is that I can
The flip book of our puppy boy.
yes, this is our puppy Jack. So I can celebrate all these little moments in this little tag book and bring all these moments together in a meaningful way in a really quick project. These are super quick to make. I should mention, how fun are these tags here that are hanging off of them? I love little charms hanging off of tag books. And these, let me see if I can orient it the correct way. I'll show you these in a minute, a closer look. So these are a line of metal etched tags from Crafter's Edge, from my collection with Crafter's Edge, that have my hand lettering on them. And they're all about handmade. So this one's made by hand. This one made with love. So I love attaching those to little mini books. So this is another just quick little mini book I made of just random moments of things that are special to me. So again, a really quick way you can bring those, kind of that Insta life, you know, all those photos on your camera roll, way you can bring them all together and make a project with them. Okay, one last thing to show you project-wise. And so when we talk about dyes, these are thin dyes. You hear them called chemically etched, wafer dyes, all kinds of things. Generally, you think of them as just paper. But you know, you can experiment a little bit. And here's a piece of fabric that I did, a fabric tag that I used the tag book to die cut. And this is actually a piece of an old quilt. And it's fairly thin. I'm not sure if I have a piece of it. There's a piece in my trash bin. So it's super old and worn out. I would never cut up a really good quilt. This is a quilt that is worn and falling apart, and so it's become quite thin. And so I was actually able to cut that with a thin die. So I would encourage you, when you have a fun shape of a die, if you like using different materials like I do, experiment. You're not going to lose anything by trying, and if it doesn't cut it, it doesn't cut it. But surprisingly, these Maker's Moments dies will cut some other things, including wool and felt, which are really important to me. I will tell you that when I cut fabric with the dies, I'll put that a little too far to reach. I do use the metal plate. So of course, whichever machine you're using, you want to follow the stack that your machine recommends for that type of die. But do look at adding a metal plate to cut your fabric. It makes a world of difference. So that's super cute, I think. Let's see. So while I'm mentioning, since I mentioned Crafter's Edge, I do want to show you, because when we released this collection, gosh, a year ago this past fall, I didn't really talk about it a whole lot online, and I sure didn't do a video because, you know, I'm kind of fearful of doing video. But I thought since I was sharing, I would share some of these with you too. So here are those charms that I talked about, and I'm going to have a link for all of this that I'll share with you at the end. So how fun are these? This one's from Hand and Heart, which you know is a sentiment I really love. This one's handmade, and the fun thing about this one, I'm not sure if you can see, it has a quilt block, and this is the Missouri Star. And the reason I included the Missouri Star is because I was born and raised in Missouri, so it's kind of a little shout out to where I came from. So made with love from Hand and Heart, made by hand, and these say handmade heartfelt, which of course is my favorite sentiment. The cool thing about these dies, so here are 3 that you can layer and create your own succulents. Cut those from wool or felt, and when you layer them, you make succulents. That's really fun. Put them in a little pot, really cute. What?
You have a post of that, don't you?
Sorry, my producer there is giving me some tips. This basket die is so fun, and I need to do a video showing how to assemble this, but the strips are actually woven into it, which is really, really cute, and just probably one of my most favorite things I've ever designed, because I thought it was really clever, and it is really adorable put together. There's this grouping of, I'm losing my stack over here to the side. Okay, a group of edgers, and I've got those out of the package I'm going to show you in just a second. My most favorite foliage die ever. If you saw the photos of the flowers I made for my daughter's wedding out of wool, these are the dies I used to make all the leaves. And fun thing about those is I actually photographed plants in my garden and used those to create the line art for those dies. And then of course, you know, I can't have a set of dies without posies, and so I actually have 4 sets of posies. So here's what makes these dies a little different. Oh, here's one of those metal adapter plates. So if you use a Big Shot or Spellbinders Platinum, you'll probably want to pick one of these up. This is available from Crafter's Edge if you're going to work with these dies. So here's what makes these dies different, the Crafter's Edge dies, which is really cool. You can see they're really heavy. So I mentioned when you have dies, you have a couple different kinds. Well, you have steel rule dies, which are the really thick ones that have the blade that's all surrounded by foam. These are equivalent to that. What those dies will cut, these dies will cut. So metal, paper, fabric, cork, thin wood, just all kinds of things. It's crazy what you can cut with these. But this is a really fun set that we're mainly talking about paper crafts today, but I think these would be adorable used on cards. So you can just hear even from this, from moving them around, just how thick they are. Okay. 2 more things. So I mentioned that I use wool a lot, and I've had some people ask me what is the difference between wool and felt. So I thought really quick, since I was talking to you today, I would show you really quick. So when I talk about using wool, this is what they call felted wool, which is wool fabric. It's woven just like fabric your clothes are made out of, and it is shrunk, washed and shrunk, so that it draws it up and makes it really tight, a tight weave. It's really wonderful for die cutting because the weave is so tight it won't fall apart. I use wool from Weeks Dye Works, and they hand dye all of this wool in all of this range of beautiful colors. The downside of it is that it's a little more expensive. So I use this mainly for applique and fabric projects, but because I end up with these scrap pieces, I do use them for die cutting for my paper crafts. And I just love the feel and look of it. Now, you can then go to felt, and wool felt comes in lots of different varieties. This is a wool felt blend, which means that it has some acrylic and wool fibers. And what they do is they take all the fibers and they bond it together to make a sheet. And it's pretty strong, but it is not woven. It's not really like a fabric because it's bonded together. You could actually pull this apart, but it is great for die cutting. You can get this in varying degrees of wool versus acrylic. So this is a blend. I think this is probably about 30% acrylic and the rest wool. You can get 100% wool felt, which is really wonderful to work with too. So I kind of compare it to, these are chicken strips made out of chicken breast. These are chicken nuggets that are made out of pieces of chicken put together. They're both tasty. They both fill your belly, and but they're a different material. This wool felt is going to be a lot more inexpensive than your real wool. So I'm going to slip over here to my computer. Let me switch this view and give you, okay, because there's a couple things I want to show you. There's my website. We'll have that. We'll have a recording of this video on there later, and then I'm going to do that tutorial for you too. If you go to the themakersmovement.com, if you click on new arrivals, you can see all of these new dies that I showed you today, all the stamps and dies. And if you go to Crafter's Edge and you come up here on Shop, Designer Collections, you'll find my name, and you can see all of my products under the Crafter's Edge label. So today through Sunday, midnight, Phoenix time, because Crafter's Edge and Maker's Movement are in Phoenix, I've got a discount code for you. And I'm going to, let's see, show it to you. There we go. If you use code Tammy20 on either of the sites, you can get 20% off your entire order. That's only while supplies last, and it does not apply to wholesale orders. So that's just for you guys who are watching this video.
Tammy with a Y.
Tammy with a Y. So this discount code is good for all weekend, so you can pick up any or all of the new collection or the Crafter's Edge collection. The discount works on both sites. Let's see. And I also wanted to share with you a couple of blogs that I think you should check out. heartshugsandflowers.blogspot.com, and I'll post a link to these, is the amazing Lynn Brandyberry. And Lynn has been designing for me for a while. She makes the most amazing cards, and I am so fortunate that she makes cards with my stamps and dies. So if you're looking for inspiration using my new dies and stamps, you'll want to check out Lynn. You'll also want to check out Vicki Chrisman, who makes amazing things, all kinds of different things, and she also uses my stamps and dies. She makes all types of crafts, so follow her for some inspiration. And then Yoli, who is at justyoli.com, also likes to...
How do you spell that?
I'll post a link shortly. I'll post a link in the recording comments. And I'll also have them on my blog. So Yoli also creates all types of fun little paper crafts, and I'm very fortunate that she creates using mine. And
well, there's the spelling right there.
And then also I'll share a link to this. I keep a page on Amazon of different things that I use and some of my products and stuff. So if you saw something that I used, like here are the cases that I store die cuts in, or here are those pockets. So if you want to check back at some of the things that I mentioned, those are there as well. So, whew, my goodness. Let's go back to the front. That was a lot of information. My mouth is dry from talking so much. Hopefully you saw something you loved, and I am really excited to get back to my blog and show you some projects. I'm not even looking in the right place, so forgive me, I'm looking off in the distance. So I hope you saw something you loved. I am so excited about this collection, and I cannot wait to show you more projects with it, and to show you some of the things we're working on for the next release. Just lots of exciting things, and I appreciate you watching my first ever Facebook Live. So hopefully I didn't ramble too much. Thank you for watching, and head over to my blog or check out the links on my Facebook page for everything I mentioned. And thank you so much.